Welcome back to Hold My Beer. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Brian.
Today we're going to be doing the Founders CBS, comparing them from last year's vintage, 2017, to this year's vintage, 2018.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. We always like to do a comparative every year. We're the aging guys. I hope everyone else out there is aging their stouts because that's how you get big, strong flavors.
Those who don't know, the CBS is in a line of Founders beers, the Breakfast Stout. They have a normal base beer, just called Breakfast Stout. And then they also have a Kentucky Breakfast Stout, or KBS, aged in bourbon barrels. The distinction with this one is that it's aged in bourbon barrels that were used for maple syrup. So they actually put maple syrup in the bourbon barrels.
And that sounds like breakfast. What are we waiting for? Let's crack them open.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Roasted coffee. It's sweet, decadent. Get a bit of the maple syrup. I would imagine last year when we first had it, when it was fresh, we got a lot more maple syrup, a little bit more incorporated into the beer itself.
Well, we can test that theory once we open this new bottle.
Still very sweet. It is a big beer, 11.7 depending upon the vintage.
Yeah, definitely falling under that booziness. The sweetness is there. I'm not getting as much bitterness from the coffee as I would prefer to have.
There is a bit of a roastiness to it.
There's definitely a roastiness, but I was like the bitterness of coffee. That's like why I like coffee.
It's definitely one of my favorites from Founders. Founders is located in Michigan, and we're in California. We haven't come across a Founders beer until, I think, beginning of 2016. They started distributing over here and basically made a big splash. There was a lot of local bars that would do a tap takeover, and they would run the gamut of, they had the KBS, Backwoods Bastard, Dirty Bastard, Blushing Monk, which is one of my favorites. I would honestly say I haven't had a bad beer from Founders. I think they had one called DMLK, which was like, All of their lineup is pretty solid. Another thing I really like about this brewery is the illustration on the bottles. The only other rival I would say would be Clown Shoes, where all the labels have a very nice illustration. Sometimes they can get a little lazy with the KBS and the DMLK, like I said. Mm-hmm. And then they also have just a fantastic beer backing it up.
We're going to go ahead and we're going to check ours in right now. And I'm going to give it a strong 4.5. The strong, boozy maple flavor. All right. And the picture I'm posting, you'll see our camera and our light and everything. Fantastic. Good beer.
It is. So you said a 4.5?
I gave it a 4.5.
Okay. I will give it a solid 5. This is, anyone that loves stouts, honestly, this is just going to be up your alley. It's maybe not as roasty bitter as one would like, but we'll see with the latest vintage. No alcohol burn, no heat. So now we're going to be doing the 2018.
Right on. 2018. That's beautiful.
All right. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. 2018 CBS.
A little bit more, I would say a little bit more coffee predominant. There was that maple finish, that maple bourbon finish, but it's a little bit more subtle. I would say this one might have been a little bit more roasty.
I have to agree with you on that. The coffee is coming way more straightforward.
Both very sweet, a little bit more carbonated. Gets a little bit more heat. Like, I actually can detect the alcohol in this now.
Yeah, the coffee's cutting through it too. It's cutting it actually really aggressively. As I'm sitting there, we can smell it. We already know it's there. But versus the 2017, this is a cup of joe. This is cold brew coffee right here.
Now I'm getting like a chewy caramel.
I agree with that.
A little bit of bitterness on the side of the tongue there.
I'm going to assume with our aging experience, this specific bottle is going to age better than the 2017.
Oh.
And
Do tell.
Only because the bitterness is there, and when you have bitterness, it's usually an elevated hop flavor mixed with the coffee. So the bitterness is going to come down. We already know that there's this caramel bite to it. So it's going to come back to a little less sweetness, a little less bitter, and a little bit more bold flavors on the roasty side, I think. It's going to balance better. But unlike the 2017 here, we missed the booziness. Where's the booziness in this? It'll come with age.
So now, out of the two, which would you prefer?
This is gonna have to go based on mood. I mean, we've got a coffee forward, and then we have a sweet forward.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm drinking this for breakfast, which is implied, highly implied to drink, this is your breakfast right here. No cereal, no eggs. This is it. This is your breakfast. This is more dessert to me. This is more like the Irish coffee at the end of the night. This is the Baileys and whiskey.
This one kind of just lends itself to breakfast. You get coffee, maple bourbon, whereas the star of the show right here is the maple bourbon. I remember when we had it a year ago, this bottle, when it was fresh, it was very maple bourbon factors, the chocolate and the coffee, the caramel. The heat was kind of taking a backseat, and it was just a sweet beer. But personally, I have a sweet tooth, so I'm lending myself to the 2017.
Right.
But both fantastic beers.
Yeah, I have to agree. No, in my opinion, I don't drink beer for breakfast. I should, and I have, but it's not my routine. So I apologize. I have to go with dessert because that's when I drink beer before bed.
Now, another thing to know, we mentioned before how Founders has some really fantastic illustrations to accompany their bottles. This has been normally the bottle label. You've got the Mountie on his horse. Breakfast Stout Tradition, the regular one has the little kid eating oatmeal or beer or whatever. But those states locally had a problem with selling beer with a child on there, so they just were like, get the kid out, put a note on the fridge until this thing sells out. So I'm kind of wondering what the story is on this guy, where you got the horse on its hind legs, presumably bucking off the Mountie.
I'm going to have to assume Canadian. They got a lot of wilderness. I see wilderness in the background. Horses, they're known for their Mounties, which is a Canadian police on a horse, basically. I'm just going to have to assume they're paying tribute to the fact that there's a lot of nature in Canada.
So you don't think there's some political reasoning behind that?
I don't see any patriotic colors in here.
Maybe
you saying Canadians can't ride horses?
No, I'm saying Canadians don't want to be featured on United States beer. Or is that the beer talking?
By the way, it's a great looking illustration. They did a lot with a short amount of time. You know what it is? I decided. He is drunk because he had too much breakfast stout.
Too much breakfast stout.
And he pissed off his horse. And so what happened was he was like, I'm going to go ride my horse in my Mountie suit off duty because I'm drunk. And, you know, it's not drunk driving if you're on a horse. What happened was the horse was like, you smell like shit. Bam. Kicked off. Gone. Nope. Don't drive a horse drunk. You know, I would like to see someone else's review. Oh, look at this. Actually, I want to give a shout out to our good buddy Jeff. He's also on Untappd. He rated this beer very recently. He lent us his microphone, his camera. Extremely appreciative of the fact that he's helping us out. Whether he believes in us or not, he's an awesome dude. So really appreciate that. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Nuttier than it is coffee. Sweetish as in sweet, I-S-H.
Yes, not the country.
Not Swedish. My Swedish friends. Dark, but with a bit of brown.
He reviewed it as nuttier than it is coffee, which is interesting because we get strong coffee forward, don't we?
We do. I'm kind of wondering what he means by nutty. He might be mistaking it as like hazelnut.
It's the sweetness. It mixes that way. It's got to be the sweetness. But in the end, everyone has their own palates, right?
True that. You might detect something that we might not detect.
Jeff follows up with sweet-ish. And I agree with that. I said when I first tasted it, it was more bitter forward anyways. And then he says dark, but with a bit of brown.
I'm sure he's just describing the visual of the beer, the SRM.
The SRM.
Of the beer. It's not a full 100, whereas a Bourbon County would register as that. I believe it only goes from 1 to 100. Now, Jeff gave it a 4.5. I'm willing to agree with that. Now, what describes a 5? What is a beer that is a 5?
The epitome of a style of a beer. The perfect idea of what that beer is. The perfect year, the perfect ingredients, the perfect yeast. When you hit it, it's perfect.
Now, what about these beers fall short in your mind?
I honestly think I'm not getting enough maple. I'm just not getting enough maple. When I think Canada, I think, oh, Canada, the land of all the maple. And I'm going to put a strong 4.0.
That's a little low, don't you think?
Did you not hear what I said?
All right. But how...
No maple.
No maple.
Barely any maple.
Maple on this one, though.
Did I not rate that a 4.5?
Okay, fine.
Oh my gosh.
You like Led Zeppelin, Give No Quarter.
I love Led Zeppelin. Generally.
Hey,
there's that beautiful picture I took earlier. Bam. Done. Bottle. Tagging. John. I'm going to tag Jeff because he's here in our hearts, here and here.
Once again, thank you, Jeff.
Jeff, I love you. Thank you, Jeff. I think the beer is getting to me. What do you think? Smash that like button. Smash it. Smash it so hard. Smash the like button. Smash the like button right into hell and eternal fire, and make sure that it becomes one of us, and make sure you become one of us as well. Subscribe into our community where we love beer and love you, because you're amazing human beings. Amazing. I love you.
Thank you for joining us again at Hold My Beer Official. My name is Jonathan.
And I'm Brian.
Join us on Facebook
And Instagram.
and Untappd.
I'll post down below on our description exactly what our handles are so you can find us very efficiently.
And if you like this video, get smashed.
Smash that like button.
And also subscribe to us so that you get the latest videos.
We have a lot coming up, and we're going to do more. And the more subscribers we have, the more likes we have, the more videos we make. Because we love you.